Hello and welcome to another trip report. This time on the Westbahn trains. I'm in one of them. This is a commercial, Westbahn is a commercial train operator in Austria that runs mainly on the most popular route in Austria, what is also called the Westbahn. And this is between Vienna and Salzburg. These trains do depart from Wien West railway station or Vienna West railway station. And there are some occasional trains that run to Munich and to Innsbruck. I took the train actually from Innsbruck to Vienna, but I will feature the railway station of Innsbruck in another video, because what I do in all my videos, I first show you the station where I'm departing from, in this case the station where I arrived at, then I show you the trains and tell you something about the railway company or the route or whatever, and at last I'll show you some views from the train. And that's exactly what I will do in this video as well. I hope you like it. If you do so, give me a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more trip reports about a more sustainable way of transportation, mainly train, hit the subscribe button. But for now, let's roll the intro. Vienna, the capital of Austria, is not far away from the Hungarian, Slovak and Czech border. At this place you find huge palaces, lots of museums, a great opera house. Vienna has just so much to offer due to its very rich history, but I'm not gonna name it all. Apart from that, if you watch this video, you're probably more interested about the train than about Vienna as a city guide. Westbahn launched a new service to Innsbruck, the capital of Tirol, in the heart of the Austrian Alps. Before I get into this, let me explain you a little bit more about the railway company Westbahn, because this is not the normal railway company in Austria. Westbahn is a commercial open access train operator that runs trains mainly on the most popular route in Austria, what is between Vienna and Salzburg. This railway line is also being called Westbahn, so it's named after this railway line. There are some occasional trains that do continue their way to Munich in Germany, and at the moment of recording, what is the end of 2022, beginning of 2023, there is a new service launched with 3 trains per day that will continue their way to Innsbruck in Austria. Westbahn does have their trains running along the Railjet and the Eurocity trains of the state-owned railway company of Austria and neighboring countries. However, the other trains of the state-owned railway companies do terminate at Vienna main station, so Wien Hauptbahnhof. The railway line between Salzburg and Vienna is partially a high-speed line where trains can go up to 250 km per hour. However, the top speed for these Westbahn trains is only 200 km per hour, and they will also go this speed. And even though the Westbahn trains might be slightly slower, they don't need a lot more time than the regular Railjet trains, for example. By the way, if you are interested in Vienna main stations of Wien Hauptbahnhof and the Railjet trains, I do have a video where I'll be covering both of them. That is on the route from Vienna to Budapest, and actually the train I took on that route started in Innsbruck. And that's also the route that I'll be covering in this video. However, let's go back to Vienna West railway station, so Wien Westbahnhof. I arrived and departed most of the times here by metro. But before I go into the railway station and into the metro, let's start around the railway station. At the front and at the side there are several tram stops. The biggest tram stop can be found right at the front of the railway station. I also noticed that entrances and exits to the undergrounds are located right next to all tram stops, so it's easy to change between different kinds of transportation. The underground passages for the metro might be great for if you want to go from the tram stop to the main railway station as well, because between the railway station and this tram stop there's a rather busy street. Wien Westbahnhof or Vienna West railway station has been built in the 1960s, and in my opinion it's not the prettiest railway station. At several spots around the railway station there are some parking spots for bikes, But most likely, if you watch this video, you're not from Vienna. So you might be more interested in bike sharing programs. And you find this as well. Nextbike bikes are located right at the front of the railway station. Something else you find right at the front is a taxi stand and a pick-up and drop-off zone for railway passengers by car. What you see over here is the concourse of Vienna West railway station. I'll get back to this in a bit because this is for travelers the most important area. However, I really want to point out that this railway station is not just a railway station, because if you move in both directions, so both left and right from the concourse, there are an awful lot of shops. This is more like a shopping mall than a railway station, and passenger service information is given relatively good in this area of the railway station as well. There are plenty of maps available, so getting lost, well, you don't have to worry about that. What makes this railway station unique is that you find an IKEA within the railway station. So I think there should be enough luggage space within the trains though, but we'll find out later. Do you know any other railway stations that do have an IKEA or very unique shops? Just let me know in the comments. Before I will go to the main area where you find the trains, let's go to the metro area. Over here you will find two lines, U3 and U6, and there are even some more shops. I also noticed this 100% vegan Burger King. I really like this. And of course you find access to the tracks for the metro. Around the tracks right before you enter the metro tracks, there are several vending machines where you can buy tickets, but you can also buy them easily online. Like I mentioned before, there are entrances and exits to the metro all over the railway station, but also in the surrounding area. For example, at the square at the front of the railway station. For now, it's time to go back to the main railway station again and to focus on what you might be seeing most if you're traveling by train from or to this railway station. A lot of the commercial extensions are newer than the main railway station building. What you see over here is the main concourse of this railway station. Pretty much all walking ways do lead here. Over here you obviously find some more shops, but also railway related services and shops. Most of these are located at the ground level. Here you find a boutique shop of Westbahn and several vending machines for ÖBB. There are no Westbahn vending machines, however Westbahn does have a good website. You can also buy these tickets via, for example, Trainline, and within the train you can also buy tickets. However, if you buy tickets last minute in the train, you probably pay the highest price. Especially in this area of the railway station, there are lots of screens with information about departing and arriving trains, but also old-fashioned paper timetables. At the moment you're moving up and basically move closer towards the railway tracks, there are quite a lot of places for fast food, and also places where you can just have a sit. Of course, at this higher level, where you're even closer to the railway tracks, there is more passenger service information available, and there are also some vending machines. However, like I mentioned before, ticket counters are located at the ground level. You also find several screens that will host information about train compositions. However, most trains that do depart from this railway station are regional trains. The only long distance trains that do depart and arrive here are the Westbahn trains. Well, I think you get the layout. It's a terminal station at the end of the tracks. You will find the railway station building where you find a lot of shops and facilities. Nowadays you find a big car train terminal in Vienna where you can take cars on specific routes, mainly sleeper trains. However, before they built the new railway station building, this station also served for car trains. And you can see it here on the right. Even though Westbahn is the only railway company that serves long distance trains from and to here, I also noticed this Polish Intercity. It doesn't use this railway station as a station where it calls, but apparently they will clean this train over here and make it ready for the departure to Poland. It will go to Warsaw. For now, it's time to head to the platforms. Over here you find lots of composition screens, and the compositions for the Westbahn trains are relatively easy because the biggest part of their fleet does consist of 6 coaches long. Stadler KISS trains. These are all double-deck trains. Apart from that, there are two Chinese-built trains made by CRRC that do have a slightly higher capacity. At the platform there are some more waiting spots, some vending machines for snacks or drinks, and you also find this waiting room inside. You find this basically at all platforms. For the rest, there ain't much to tell about the platforms. Although one thing you should know, you find ladders at the platforms, and these ladders will refer to the composition screen, so you know more or less what carriage will be where at the platform. As I mentioned in the introduction, I took these trains from Innsbruck, so let's head back to Innsbruck and let's take a closer look at the exterior of these trains. The Westbahn trains do come in three different classes. Standard class, what is also referred to as second class, comfort class, what is referred to as second plus class, and first class. At the outside it has been clearly marked where you find what class. Icons at the side of the train do also host basic facility information, like for example where you can enter the train if you're traveling with a bike, or where there are special luggage compartments. Route information, but also information about the carriage numbers, will be given at special LED screens at the side. This is all digital, so whenever this changes for whatever reason, this will still be up to date. The higher classes, so second plus class, what is referred to as comfort class, and first class, can be found at the very front and the back of the train. One carriage does only contain the comfort class, so the second class plus, and within the other carriage you will find both the first class and comfort plus class. I'll show you this all in a bit. For this journey we were traveling in standard class. This is the lowest class. For now let's take a closer look at the interior of these trains. But before I do this, let's change the settings of my camera to wide angle, what's a bit easier. At the moment you enter the train, screens will host route information and also information about the specific carriage you're in. And at several spots there are also ski holders. We're traveling in Austria after all. We reserved a seat for ourselves at the upper deck. It was pretty quiet at the moment I entered the train. Actually they were still cleaning the train, so this is ideal for filming. Even though Westbahn trains are on average rather busy, it is a commercial train operator after all that's serving the most popular routes only. During our ride it was really quiet. Maybe this has to do with the fact that this is a newly launched connection, and also because we were traveling the day before Christmas. Integrated within the luggage racks there were small screens that will host information about the reservations, and this is our reserved seat. However, we went somewhere else later on. For the train tour I'll start in the standard class, or the regular second class. The highest capacity within these trains can be found over here. The upper decks are basically all the same. At both ends of the compartment you find some sofas, and most seats do come in an airline or long distance bus composition. In the middle of these carriages there are some seats facing each other with a bigger table in between. One thing you should definitely keep in mind, but this is for more trains, the extra space for luggage at the upper decks, it's really minimal. The overhead luggage racks are just really small, both at the upper and the lower deck. They're just good enough for some basic luggage, like for example your coat or an umbrella, but that's basically it. At the upper deck there are no special luggage compartments. You can store some items under the seats, but there's not a whole lot of space, and on this topic I was a little bit disappointed in these trains. These are still long distance trains after all. However, at the lower deck there is more space for luggage, I'll show you in a bit. Screens at the end of all compartments do host route information. By the way, the sofas also do have power plugs. I'll give you a seat tour in a bit. For now let's focus on what you can find at the lower decks. The layout of the standard class in the lower deck is roughly the same. The biggest difference is that you find dedicated luggage zones over here. I do have the impression that the overhead luggage racks are slightly bigger than at the upper deck, but it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. If you have a seat at the upper deck and you want to store your luggage at the lower deck, I can imagine you like to keep an eye on your luggage. However, you can also lock your luggage at the lower deck. If you want to do this, you need to pay a deposit of €1. You need to have this cash, obviously. In general, the differences between standard class at the lower and the upper deck are not that much different from each other, except for this carriage. This is the family area and also the accessible area, so there's also more space for luggage, and there's also more space for bikes, for example. At this area you also find the combined accessible toilet that can also be used as a diaper changing facility. Obviously, this toilet is way bigger than all the other toilets you find within this train. However, there's only one toilet of these kind of toilets within this train. But that's more than enough in any normal situation. The other toilets are gender specific. This mainly has to do with the fact that the male toilet does have a urinal. This is the woman's room. Pretty basic, and everything was kept pretty clean is my general experience within these trains. And these are the gents. As you can see, they are basically the same, except there's a urinal over here as well. The regular toilets can be found between the carriages, and something else you can find at several spots between the carriages are a kind of dining cars. These trains don't have a true dining car. However, at several spots you find a vending machine for snacks and drinks, and right next to that there's a regular vending machine for coffee and tea. You can of course take cups here, but I use my own reusable coffee cup. Before I move on, show you the different classes and show you a seat tour of my standard class seat, here's a seat tour of the dining car. You'll find some seats facing each other with a table in between, and at the side there are power plugs. The displays within the luggage racks will not only host information about seat reservation, but also at the moment you take a seat in one of those seats, it will be displayed until where you've booked your ticket. Once again, these luggage racks are really tiny. The seats in standard class do have a small magazine rack, and there's one power socket per person. You can recline these seats, and in my situation I don't have a lot of leg space if I'm doing this, but I'm a very tall guy. In general the leg room is pretty okay. There are sturdy tray tables and, like I mentioned, one power plug per seat. Displays with route information can be found all over the train. I didn't find a lot of garbage bins, by the way. You can only find them near the dining car area and within the toilets. By the way, all windows do have sunscreens. For now, let's take a look at the higher classes, and now start off with the highest class, what is the first class. There's only this section of the train that is in first class, and this comes in a 2x1 configuration. Most seats do face each other, but you also find some seats in an airline style composition. I honestly have no idea what was going on with my camera when I did the seat tour of first class, but things didn't went as smooth as you might expect. Anyway, it's the only footage I have, so I will use it, and this is the seat in the first class. You have more legroom, the seats are wider, and you find a reading light. Let it shine, baby. Because first class offers more seats facing each other, you can use the back ends between the seats also as an extra storage space for luggage. First class is just a bit more comfortable than standard class or second class, and also as comfort class, what is called second plus class. And that is what I will show you now. Second plus or comfort class comes in one part of the train in both the upper and the lower deck, and the other end of the train you will only find this at the lower deck, because over there you find the first class at the upper deck. This comes in a 2x2 configuration, so 2 seats on both sides of the aisle, just like the second class. However, you have more leg room. In comfort or second plus class there are only seats facing each other, so no airline style seats. Of course the bigger tables are nice, and this also gives extra space for luggage between the back ends of the seats. However, I really prefer airline style seats. This is why I booked standard class. Second plus class is really a mix between standard class and first class. You also find personal reading lights at these seats, by the way. Well, I think you get it, and if you have any questions just let me know. By the way, free Wi-Fi is available. Before I show you some views from the train, let's take a closer look at the environmental impact if you're traveling by train, car and plane on this route. Of course, trains won't clean the air, but the environmental impact if you're traveling by train is a lot lower than car, and especially a lot lower than traveling by plane. For the last tiny bit of this video, I'll show you some views from the train between Innsbruck and Vienna. It got dark for the last section of the route, so I didn't film the entire route. The section between Kufstein and Salzburg is in Germany, however, this train doesn't stop in Germany. So, that's it for this video. I hope you liked it, or this has been a helpful video to you. If so, please give me a thumbs up on YouTube if you'd like to see more trip reports, mainly about train, sometimes ferry, but mainly to show you what it's like to travel on a more sustainable way of transportation. Hit the subscribe button. Likes, comments and subscriptions are really much appreciated to help to grow this channel and to convince more people about a more sustainable way of transportation. Once again, thank you for watching and see you on my next video. At last, if you're interested in other trip reports, in the description of this video on YouTube you find a link to a map, and on this map you can find all trip reports. The lines to indicate the routes and the icons to indicate the station, ferry terminal or bus station reviews. Of course, you can also find lots of videos on this channel. Once again, thank you for watching and see you on my next video.